So I confused like professional and informative with like being boring as hell. So like what my old content, if you go watch it, it's so monotone and like
Mm-hmm.
unenthusiastic. And like in my mind, I was like, I'm just talking like how like a professional would if they were teaching. It's like not, it's not it.
Hey everyone, it's Sevy and welcome back to Sevy Talks, where we cover a range of topics from Genshin to gaming to guests and stories. And today, our guest is none other than Mr. Braxophone. Hello.
Hello. So nice of you to invite me. I appreciate you having me on.
Don't talk so formal. We've known each other for a while, okay?
I don't know like what tier of formal this has to be. So nice to make your acquaintance.
Acquaintance, yeah, definitely acquaintanceship. That's the level of formality we're going for. So this is probably like gonna be one of the more casual, I guess, podcast episodes because Brax and I have known each other for a while, and like sometimes this surprises me. Like whenever I whenever I think about it, like it always kind of surprises me. But Brax is, if you're not familiar with his work, go check out his YouTube channel. I'm gonna have it linked below. Brax is a guide maker. We know him a lot from Genshin, but his recent content has gone a lot into Star Rail as well, so you might know him from either. And I have also known Brax for 2 years, 2+
Has it
years
really been
at this
that
point.
long? Oh my god.
I think it has. Yeah, it
That's
has,
insane.
surprisingly.
I mean, we talk a lot, but like I feel like Genshin and like all of the people that I've met through Genshin, I feel like I barely know them at all. Like I feel like even Rin, who I've been talking to and hanging out in VCs with and like playing games with for such a long time, I feel
Yeah.
like I barely have known her for any time at all. But it's been 3 years since Genshin started.
I did start content in 2021, and it was a few months into that we started talking. And I don't know if you remember how that started, because I almost barely do. I What just comes to mind is that there was like a group Discord. I think I probably tweeted like I wish there were a support group for Genshin streamers or something like that. And then you like shot a DM and it was like, here, a support group, and it was a Discord of other Genshin
Yep.
streamers.
Oh, I
Yeah.
remember this now. Yeah, it's coming back. Yeah. I was like, I don't remember any of this, and then I remembered that Discord. It's ancient now. There's still
It
people in it,
is.
but and sometimes they use it, but
It is. It's ancient stuff. And I was like, wow, there are all these people who are also who also want that, kind of socialness, because it's kind of rough out there.
yeah, I mean, we don't go to an office every day and like say hi to our
Mm-mm,
coworkers, right? We're kind of just
we
at our
don't.
desk, and then like our best social interaction for the day is like Twitter. Like we get
Yeah.
on.
Oh God. That like that's not a good social interaction to have every day either. Yeah. So it was like, okay, jump into a Discord with people who are doing similar stuff, or like at least in the same game, and then, talk and get your problems out. But anyway, I have brought Brax in for this episode to, of course, go over and learn more about like Brax's career and where he's heading, but also talk about guide making, because that is something huge that Brax and I have in common. And I have had like creators on this channel who make different types of Genshin content, whether it's like lore or casual content or anything in between. And guide making is something that is very special to both of us. And both of us, or rather, I've been asked a bunch of questions about guide making in when I've talked to people. And now I'm going to ask you them later on, and we're going to
Okay.
compare notes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't like. Can I copy your homework? But like, don't make it look. Yeah.
Yeah, don't make it look the same. But before we get into that, I'm going to start us off with Brax. Tell me how you got into Genshin guide making. What was it before that?
You want to hear something like kind of messed up? So,
Okay.
um, I started making Genshin guides because I was like, wow, what's like the most easy thing I could do that would like guarantee growth on YouTube? But like it's silly, but what I was in college when I started, And when I knew of some friends that had been doing YouTube and stuff, but like most of it was just like casual, like a hobby. I'm gonna make some funny videos, post them online, whatever. I had a buddy who started making guides for Valorant when that game came out, and he's a really funny dude. But I noticed that his channel blew up off of those, and I watch guide videos all the time for other games that have building and stuff, and like rating and all that sorts of stuff. So I was
Yeah.
like, I want to make guides like this person. It's actually their Final Fantasy creator, Ms. Tech. Initially, was who I
Oh.
wanted to kind of make my content like, because she does really great like raid guides for Final Fantasy. So I was like, I'll just do that for Genshin Impact. Um, and I didn't know anything about the game when I started. I don't think most people did. It was a lot of people just like throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, you know?
Uh-huh.
And then eventually we're like, okay, now we have this format that everyone follows and everyone does the same thing. Um, but a little fun fact about me: before Genshin even started, I wanted to be a YouTuber when I was really little, and I used to upload Call of Duty montages that I edited. And
Whoa.
um, I will say I definitely thought I was a lot better at them than I was. And funny enough, people just don't really want to listen to. I think a lot of the time, people don't really want to listen to like 13-year-olds do Let's Plays as much as
Mm-hmm.
like they'd be interested in like an adult doing a Let's Play.
Yeah.
Based on my
Fair.
experience and who I watch. Um, so yeah, I mean, it was a lot of just like I'm going to upload videos for fun. But then in college, I decided to get back to it. I hadn't uploaded in years, and
Mm-hmm.
funny enough, if I still have most of that stuff privated and like unlisted
Oh.
on my old channels. So sometimes it's
On
funny
your
to
old
look back on it.
channel.
Yeah,
So it can be found somewhere out
it
there.
can be found. Yeah, but I don't think anyone's going to find it. It's
Okay.
nothing like my current content at all. So
If anyone finds like tiny Brax doing Call of Duty montages, I guess
it was
congratulations.
that and Minecraft Let's Plays. I just mostly thought it was going to be like a pretty easy way to like make content. I was also going to school for education, so I was like, this is something like I can teach through videos.
Right.
Hmm.
I always okay. For some reason, like when I try to recall what your degree was in, like the music part sticks. It's hard to forget because you're fucking Braxophone, right?
Yeah.
But the education, um, it slips my mind a lot. So
Hmm.
what was it like studying that and translating that to your video making?
To be honest, not a ton of it translates. The only thing, the main takeaways I had were, um, I wrote a lot of essays.
Okay.
The main thing I think that I took away is that like it's not important that you explain everything like 100% technically correct. What's important is that you explain it in a way that someone that has no idea what you're talking about can learn about it. And the 100%
Mm,
technically correct, like obviously you want to be correct, but what I mean is
yeah.
like you don't need to use the advanced terminology for everything that you do. Because
Yeah.
if I make a Genshin guide and I start talking about ICDs and it's like a beginner's guide, they're gonna be like, what is that? What does that mean? Like I don't know what
Yeah.
ICD is, but other people that have been playing the game already know what it is. But you have to make everything approachable for like anyone that has literally never experienced a thing before, and you have to do that with students
Mhm.
too. Obviously with students, like you do want to teach them the words, but they'll get it over time. Like if somebody's struggling to understand something, how many different ways can you say it in that is digestible, that they can come out of it with a general idea of what you've been trying to say. So
Mhm.
that was something that I just tried to focus on a lot, especially as I progressed in my degree and my content, where I wanted to
Yeah.
make it more digestible. But
The example of ICD is pretty perfect because we always bring it, or we always try to mention like this attack has this ICD and this and this and that, right? And
mm,
on my end, I've usually standardized it to just say like ICD is this like elemental rate of elemental application or something.
hmm
But it's never in detail unless someone asks for it or unless like you dedicate a video to actually explain it, because if it is a video about a whole bigger topic where ICD may or may not be so important, but to the viewer, it probably isn't that important at the moment. Then you
right.
don't have to explain it. Like I
hmm
totally get that. I feel like so one of the challenges of YouTube is because the videos can literally be found by anyone. It's not just like someone walking into a classroom and knowing what they signed up for. Like literally anyone can find your video and watch it, and it's kind of on the burden of the creator that the viewer understands or enjoys it.
Yeah, 100%, right? Because you'll have, I mean, you could make a quote unquote like perfect video
Hmm.
for whatever you're trying to talk about, and somebody's going to be looking for something else and find your video, and they're going to be upset about that. Um, and they're gonna let you know that they're upset about it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, when you read comments, does it ever feel like reading students' feedback? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the relationship is.
No, because if students have something bad to say to you, they won't say it to you.
Hmm.
They- They'll say it to other students. Actually, no. And in high school and middle school, a lot of the kids like don't really know if a teacher is like a bad teacher. Their definition of a bad teacher is like, is a teacher mean? But they don't know, like if they're not learning anything, they don't really realize they're not learning anything. Versus when you get to college, you're paying for an education, so it's like, wait, why
Yeah.
don't I know this? I'm paying for this.
Ah, I
Um,
see.
so,
I'm so okay.
yeah,
Whoa.
so like in my experience, because oh my god, student teaching was a nightmare. I I love student teaching, but I was with one of the best teachers in the state for band. He was an absolute like pleasure to work with. I loved working with him, and he had so much great knowledge to like share with me and his students. But because
Mhm.
of that, his students made me question like how much I know about what I'm talking about a lot of the time. Like they would say something,
How?
and because like he would teach them things that were like even like borderline like collegiate topics like that I would learn in my
Okay.
freshman year. And I'm like in 5th year and I don't remember this one thing that I learned in freshman year. And so when these students are talking about it, it's like, yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds right. Like, but the problem is, like, as a teacher, you're not supposed to show that you don't know everything. It's okay to
Mhm.
go to like look something up and make it a learning experience for everyone. But the
Mhm.
more of that your students see, where I don't want to call it incompetence, but like if you don't know something that they do and they see that's a pattern, they'll eat you alive, right? They're
Uh-huh.
not gonna talk badly to you, but they're going
Yeah.
to I don't know. You can kind of tell when
Yeah.
they're egging you on, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, high schoolers can be vicious.
Yeah, yeah. But for the most part, I found they won't say anything to your face. YouTube commenters don't read like they forget that there's a person that reads them. I feel like most of the time, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
they say this on a public forum as if they're talking to you, but like they don't expect that you are an actual human being. They see you as like
Yeah.
this influencer who is like out of reach
Uh,
of them, I feel like.
yeah.
And so they're like they can be kind of vile sometimes. Sometimes you see
They
really bad stuff.
can.
And then also sometimes you see really nice stuff, and that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool to get both, I guess. I mean, yeah, it is cool. It's not just an I guess, but less of the bad stuff is always better, right?
Yeah, and a lot of the times with the bad stuff, you just kind of have to ignore it, right?
Mhm.
You can see like genuine criticism is fine if somebody says, "Hey, like I think the music was too loud this section," and then like a couple other people say
Mhm.
it, like, "Yeah, it was probably a little too loud," right?
Mhm.
Um, but if somebody comes in and they're like, "Wow, I really hate you, and this character sucks, and you should quit YouTube forever," I don't feel like we should acknowledge those existing because then they will continue.
That's you gotta love those comments that just pop up and you can tell they're not commenting for any of the right reasons. So you just
Mhm.
love those comments. Yeah, but what you said about questioning if you know what you know for like you were saying you're in 5th year, something you learned in 1st year. It makes me think about calculus in that way.
Oh
You know how
god,
like you
not
learn about
calculus.
calculus, whether it's like in early college or late high school, and then you totally don't give a shit about it after you graduate unless you went into a STEM or engineering course or
Mhm.
things like that. So it kind of does make you question what you used to know. And honestly, sometimes I still get that feeling in Genshin. Like I was familiar with this certain topic a year ago because that was the hot topic and I read everything I could about it. But now, if someone asks me out of the blue on this topic, I'm going to have to look something up. Yeah.
I had a moment like that a little bit ago. I was doing a Spiral Abyss run. I was recording some footage for a video, and I threw attack sands on my Hutao, and I wasn't thinking about it. I had zero thoughts going through my head. I was just like, okay, I have a Crimson Witch set. I'm gonna throw that on Hutao, and I just threw an attack sands on her, and I like zero thoughts about it until I got
Yeah.
through my recording, and I was like, this took really long. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like that should have been a much faster clear. And then the next day when I logged in, I was like, why is she on attack stance? Like, who did that? So
Who did that? Well, good thing that wasn't live.
yeah, and that's always really scary, right? It's like
Yeah.
sometimes the information, if you're doing a bunch of videos in a row, which I'm sure you're
Yeah.
familiar with because you were just pumping out content daily in like year one and a little bit of year two as well.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you get through that fifth video and video one is out the like in one ear and out the other. Like
Mhm.
the other one is gone for a little
Mhm.
bit. And you
Yeah.
have to be reminded and then it all comes back. But
Yeah, and then someone asks you about video 1 and you're like, "Hold up. I'm still on video 5."
yeah. We'll get there
Yeah.
when we get there. Maybe video one will be revisited in video 8. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of like year 1, year 2, starting the Genshin scene, what was it like with like contending with all the other guide videos out there?
It was okay. Can I be completely honest about this? I don't want to make drama. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna be dramatic about it.
Okay.
But it was more brutal back then than it is now. Um,
I can believe that.
because I think a lot of people misattributed their success to other people's success or their lack of success, like one or the other. So
Okay.
someone would see like a guide maker blow up and
Mhm.
then they would be mad at that person for blowing up and so they would do everything in their power to disagree with them and then like try
Mhm.
to make a video that proves why they're wrong. And I saw that a lot at the beginning of Genshin specifically. Like I saw a lot of creators go and talk about specifically what one person said. They would never name drop them. It's kind of like a subtweet, but in a video.
Yeah, yeah.
They would never say who it is. They would just be like, yeah, some content creators really like said this is actually completely wrong. And they would
Mhm.
go to every possible way to find that one little thing that they're wrong about and make it a huge
Mhm.
deal. There were some
Mhm.
creators that like watch content and would like judge it live, and
Mhm.
it kind of, I don't want to say it sucked because I enjoyed making the videos. I think it was fun to learn everything, like as
Mhm.
we figure out like what ICD
Yeah.
means and stuff like that. Like that's great, but
Yeah.
I do think it was more brutal. I think nowadays people don't really care as much because
Yeah. I think
we're all just
nowadays
vibing.
people kind of understand the nuances where there's probably a range of people like those who understand the nuances and then those who are just vibing as you said, yeah.
Yeah, you can understand the nuance without like caring too much, but
Yeah.
there was some folks that like really wanted to be like the most correct creator, and what that
Mhm.
did is it made more people want to be the most correct because oh, this person's discrediting the thing that I said, so I have to be more correct
Mhm.
than them. And eventually, I think that's why Genshin has some of like the highest quality guides of like any game community. Like you sit down, you watch a Sevy guide, and it's like you walked into like a business meeting where they're like pitching something. And it's like this $10,000 like budgeted ad, and it's
Oh my
like
god.
incredible, right? You can go look at most other games and you're not going to find guides of the quality that are being made in Genshin community because it just drove everyone to make better content over and over and over. And now the standard is so high. It's kind of tiring to be honest, but it's also fun and you get better at making
That's
videos.
that's so interesting to hear because I don't have a lot of experience with other games. Like the last guides I probably watched were Minecraft Let's Plays disguised as guides. So,
Oh my
so
gosh.
I am like barely a point of reference. That's so interesting. I didn't even realize.
Yeah. Well, you had people that like didn't even like edit their stuff at the start, right? Like they would
Mhm.
just talk for 20 minutes, cut a couple things.
Yeah.
And now like even them, they're like putting up graphics and stuff,
Mhm.
transitions. I think people started doing transitions after you did. I think I think you started
No
that.
way.
I genuinely think you started that. Like the really fancy like motion graphics. Like everyone started that after you because they were like, damn, like Sevy's guides are so
No.
like high quality. Like how can I be better? And we all started doing that.
That's insane. Okay, I totally get what you mean about like everyone trying to be correct. And it was tough during that time, I bet, because everyone was trying to figure out what the heck was going on in Genshin. Like everyone, it's not like now where we do have clear ideas of what's good, what's not, what's helpful, what's good investment, what's weak investment, right?
Yeah.
Back then, you know, as you said, people were throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, even information wise. Like, I'm sure there was like a method to the madness, especially among theory crafters, those who were doing like the hard stuff. But even then, it was still a wide period of discovery. And honestly, the um booming of creators and guide content, I kind of witnessed that when Honkai Star Rail came out, because
Yeah.
everyone was like also trying to get in the market, trying to throw out their video styles and their knowledge and roughly talking about the same things, but then having like slightly different takes on them and different styles on them and putting in their own voices. And as much as I was trying to catch up, also I was like, this is so interesting. Like, is this what it was like at the start of Genshin content? Was it?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like, I think that is the most fun part of content creation, is like when you're figuring out the game, like when you don't know
Mm-hmm.
everything. Because now
Mm-hmm.
now that we know everything with Genshin, by day one, we know everything
Mm-hmm.
about every like
Yeah.
every new character that comes out. Because we know, like, we figure out the ICD, we figure out the artifacts and everything. We know just based on like numbers, like what everything is
Mm-hmm.
going to be. And of course, now we're to the point where we're testing like specific rotations and stuff, but that's such a niche subsection of the community that it's like you can't really build all of your content around it if you want to like constantly grow. And so a lot of this stuff ends up being like a lot of the same. Um,
Yeah.
Whereas like Star Rail was like new and fresh, so I think everyone had like a drive to figure it out, and it was
Mm-hmm.
cool to hear everyone's voices.
It is cool. It is cool when you're not that afraid to try something new. And I feel like the birth of a new game gives you all the permission to do that. Especially one that you know is going to succeed because its predecessors succeeded. And
Mhm.
as much as you say that is the funnest part, like personally for me, it would be really scary because
Really?
because like I hate not knowing. And
Yeah.
I, well,
You know, it's
yeah,
not fun to be
that's
wrong, especially on the internet.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I do think that in that first year, like when Inazuma came out, um, it was kind of an interesting balance because I was already like making guides at that point, and it was a mix of not knowing, but also kind of knowing, but people also having their footing.
Mhm.
And then you get another wave of that when Sumeru came out with the Dendro stuff. And I think that that was really fun because people more or less had like their voice and their structure, but there was this new mechanic that was just like coming in and then you could build up on. But
Mhm.
it probably was not at the same level of chaos and freedom that was at year one.
Yeah, especially because Dendro got introduced so slowly, right? Because we didn't just
Mm-hmm.
start the game with like a ton of Dendro units.
Mm-hmm.
We got Dendro MC and Tuknari like as the first characters available for Dendro. Oh, and
Yeah.
Kale as well. So I guess we
And
did have a
Kale.
few, but none of them were even like close to the Dendro powerhouses we have now, like your husband
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
Nahida. Yeah. So-
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. I mean, Kohler was a very interesting Dedra unit to start with. It's like, huh, she's an odd one, but yeah,
I
definitely.
think they were limit testing a little bit. I think they were like, we don't want to put out anything too crazy at the start. Because if you think
Mm-hmm.
about those like launch units for Genshin, so many of them are still the go-to
Mm-hmm.
nowadays. Like Xingqiu, like Xiangling, Fischl, Bennett, like all of those characters are so valuable. And
Yeah.
I think they like, we don't want to make it so the first character that you see for Dendro is just always the best character all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So and I did feel a little bit like revitalized and kind of what you're talking about, where everything is new with Dendro. So it was a really cool experience. And honestly, Sevy, I don't, were you weren't around at the very start of Genshin, were you? Or were you just,
No.
okay.
I started playing in the Zhongli banner and then I started making
Mm,
content March 2021. So I think that was 1.4.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Okay. I was like, I would have felt really bad if you were just making videos since launch. And I was just like, yeah, you
Yeah,
missed out on
no,
a
no,
little
no.
bit, but you were there for some of it, right? Because, yeah, I mean, Child was one of the very first like really big things that blew up a lot of creators for knowing what they're talking about. Because
That was,
Riptide.
yeah, I wasn't around for that.
Mm.
And when I started guide making, I had to learn what the heck Child did. I was like, why is this guy a big deal? Aside from him being like ginger, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, people got mad. I made a Child video. It's just like, like, is Child still worth it? Like on its rerun. And
Mhm.
I got a few comments that were like disliked because you didn't go in detail about quadratic scaling. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I mean, I'll say it now. I wouldn't have said it back
Yeah.
then. I was like, no, of course I know what that is. I just didn't think it was important,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There are those instances where you make a video about something and then just because it fell out of your scope or, a viewer came in expecting to hear about it, like instant dislike.
Yep.
It's odd. I mean, from one perspective, sure, especially if it's like a totally big thing. But then when you start thinking about the super high level or the more niche knowledge, it becomes a little less justifiable.
Yeah.
But I was around for when 1.6 happened, when the elemental mastery buff happened. Like I remember
Mm.
that being one of the more major shifts that I had to contend with because at that point I was still figuring out what the heck elemental reactions were.
That one was a lot of fun. The swirl buffs were pretty crazy. Also, the
Mhm.
Kazuha discourse around the time of the swirl buffs was also crazy. And if you
Yeah.
ask most people that were talking about Kazuha and Sucrose, most of
Mhm.
them will just pretend that they never said anything like Sucrose is better than Kazuha. But like I explicitly remember like many people talking about how much better Sucrose is. Um, but like, yeah, I don't know. That was a really fun time because it was kind of like a soft reset on the learning
Mhm.
curve as we figured out like, oh wow, all these animo units are so much better, and then like look at these
Mm.
changes.
Man, it's so interesting hearing about like the early guide scene from your perspective. One of the few things that one of the more unique things I always get from Brax is like tea from some corner of the world. Of course, I'm not going to say what tea, but
It's
you seem to remember a lot.
I remember a lot because like I mean maybe I'm wrong, but I feel
Mhm.
like I was definitely on the list of people that was like, don't listen to this guy. And I
Uh-huh.
kind of like looking back on my older content for a while, I understand it, but there does happen to be this thing. I don't think this is Genshin exclusive, by the way, but like someone will
Mhm.
hear like an opinion or they'll hear something about someone, and it'll kind of stick with them for a really long time. It's same with like Genshin character power ratings, right? Um, like people will say, I guess Kokomi is a good one. There are
Mhm.
still people to this day that say Kokomi is bad, and like
Mm.
I don't really like sure there was lots of people that said Kokomi was kind of bad and a lot of them changed their opinion, but there's still people that say it because they heard it one time a really long time ago during like a doom post. um
Yeah.
and I think that kind of stuck around for me, so I've always tried really hard to figure out how to improve my content and figure out like what I can do to just be a better creator. And a lot of that has been like I need to consume a bunch of other people's content, and then I find out that other people are like, no, this is better, and like this is better than this person's, and like just all of this stuff where they don't want to make drama out of it, but as a guide creator you have to be an authority. Right.
Mhm.
There's so many people
Yeah.
that they don't wanna talk shit about people, but they want to make sure that that they are the most trustworthy person. It's like
Yeah.
politics, right? You just make
Yeah.
everyone believe you.
That's a good thing to point out because I was next going to ask you how you allowed your content to evolve. Like you've been at this for 3 years. So
Mhm.
what was kind of the process? What were the little bits that you were picking out and trying to improve and replace when it came to guides in particular?
So I confused, like, professional and informative with, like, being boring as hell. So, like, what my old content, if you go watch it, it's so monotone and, like,
Mhm.
unenthusiastic, and, like, in my mind, I was like, "I'm just talking, like, how, like, a professional would if they were teaching." It's like, it's not it. A professional
Mhm.
would sound, like, enthusiastic about what they're doing, right? Um,
Yeah.
but a lot of that evolution has come from just making friends with other people and figuring out, obviously, like part of it was I don't want to call it drama because like there was never anything that came out of it, right? But like
Yeah.
a lot of it just came from watching other people, seeing what they do and going like, I can do that, or like maybe I can do that better, or I like what they did here. And you kind of take things from the process. um sometimes those things are thumbnails and titles
Mhm.
and styles, and other times they're like when you see someone have really cool motion graphics, you're like, damn, I want some motion
Mhm.
graphics that'll really step
And
up the game.
transitions.
Yeah. And so yeah, a lot of that has just been feedback. Actually, one I remember specifically, what got me starting to move away from the monotoneness was talking to
Yeah.
Gratis, who's unironically
Oh.
very monotone. Um,
Yeah.
so,
That's so funny. Okay.
because I was talking to Gratis, I was like, Gratis, what am I doing wrong? Like, my videos never pass this many views. I have the same
Mm.
like information as these people. So, and
Mhm.
he listened to it. He's like, you want my honest answer? I was like, yeah. He was like, it's kind of boring. And I was like, oh, okay. So, but like, and at first it kind of hurts, right? You're like, oh man, he thinks I'm boring. But like
Mhm.
after you get over that, then you're like, then you can look at it objectively. You can say someone said I'm
Yes.
boring. You can take a step back, watch it as like unbiased, or try to be unbiased, or look for the boring, and you're like, okay, yeah, this could be better. Um,
Mhm.
and I don't think I really found my voice until honestly last year.
Mm.
But that was a really big step for me, I think, is like getting out of my comfort zone and being willing to, like, I guess it's almost voice acting. It's not good voice
Yeah.
acting, but it kind of is. Right?
Oh yeah. 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 It's like, well, I like to think of it as like presentation voicing.
Yeah.
In a way, it's like, yeah, it's not voice acting because, well, you're not really going for a character, right? But you are putting on a persona
Hmm.
in some ways. And it's also a little bit of that when you start streaming or like when you turn on the camera and go streaming. But yeah, it is important to be objective and then try to turn that into getting out of your comfort zone because when you are in the rhythm of your thing and you think you have a good thing going, it's so hard to do that sometimes. And
Yeah.
like sometimes it's also so hard to remember that you have to consume other people's content to keep improving your own also because you can't really exist in a vacuum. I feel like once you've well, I've fell into that trap where I'm obsessing over like my numbers and my data and
Hmm.
my own videos that I forget there are people out there who are making content that's better and that you can get like inspiration and tips from.
Hmm. I just want to give this person a shout out too, because this also really helped. I
Mhm.
made a Yomiya guide a long time ago, and I had Jenny Okabori help me out with voicing it. And
Mhm.
I mean, she's a professional voice actor, right?
Yeah.
And like when I heard her voiceover, I was like, you don't have to cut it up or anything. Just send me the script, and then I'll cut it up and edit it with the video. And she sent it to me, and I was listening to this, and I was like, oh, this is so fun. Like she sounds so fun when she voices this, like compared to what I
Mhm.
do. And when I talked to her about it, she gave me some like really helpful, I guess, like tips on like
Mhm.
on presenting in a very exciting way. And I still
Yeah.
think I can improve on it a lot. And you can tell by the video, like how tired I am. Like, how many videos have I made? Oh, I made 6. Okay. Well, the 6th one is going to be very like low energy in comparison.
Yeah. Like conserving your energy or at least like faking it till you make it. It's tough.
Yeah. You think you're faking it well too. And then you listen back and
Mm.
you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could redo that.
Yeah. And you did mention finding your voice recently. And I did notice like when especially when Star Rail came out, you did double down on like on on having like more personality or at least injecting things that made them more noticeably Braxophone, like not your typical super structured scripted guide, even though I'm sure you work on the humor in there.
It's kind of tough, especially it's hard to be funny on a deadline. Like,
Okay, fair. Writers looking up and being like, yeah.
like like, oh, I need more jokes in here. Like this is very close to what I did like 2 years ago. But it's
Hmm.
like I have a day before I need to like submit this to an editor or something.
Yeah.
But like you relate to that like crunch, like, oh, there's a character coming out soon. Like I have 48 hours to do this thing and then produce a video
Yeah.
out of it.
The crunch scares me, man. Like whenever there's that crunch deadline, I'm like, I cannot have anything happening during this time. It's gonna throw me off. I need to 100% focus, and then like
Mhm.
I don't.
Do you like close Discord and everything? I feel like I have a really tough time doing that when I'm working on a video.
Actually, one of the things I just realized this. I didn't put this in my initial topic list, but one of the things that I learned a lot about when I started talking to you was about ADHD. I don't
Mm.
know how you feel about that, but but I learned a lot about that from you because during the time I felt like I was going through or I was experiencing a bunch of behaviors that I couldn't identify initially. And what you talked about, I would relate with a lot. And now that's not really something that I'm going to go in depth on, but for you, like how did you deal with that and how does it work with or for you?
I discovered this hack. Well, I discovered a couple hacks. The first one is upload once every 3 weeks. The second one
Okay.
is give yourself ample time to do anything else. No, I'm kidding. One thing that I did in college, or just actually just for ADHD in general, I stopped
Yeah.
taking meds after high school because the meds for me they worked really well, but they also made me not super hungry. And I love food, and I want to eat food, and so
Okay.
I stopped
Fair.
taking meds. Um, and I was like, oh, I can just beat this. And when I ended up taking my music and special education class, I realized, oh, I cannot beat this. This is actually a
Mhm.
neurological condition that is going to hinder my ability to work. But
Mhm.
I did learn different ways to cope with it through college. And one of those ways was forcing myself into an environment where there is no possible way for me to do anything else. Or maybe it's surrounding myself by things I'm disinterested in.
Mhm.
So that way I will do the thing that is the most interesting.
Mm.
Because writing scripts is like it's tough. It's like writing an essay, right? And if you're
Yeah.
and if you're excited about writing a script for a specific character, then that's fine, and you'll do it.
Yeah.
But like of all of the process of making a video, I think writing and recording the script is my least favorite part. I actually like editing the
Mhm.
video, filming the video. I think that's really fun. But the
Mhm.
scripting part, it does feel kind of like, college essay stuff. Um, but unfortunately, my brain cannot function in a way that allows me to just talk for 20 minutes and like get everything right. So
See, I envy the people who can do
yeah,
that.
no, they're crazy. They're insane. So I would go to the library. Oh my god, this is I was in a Spanish class and I never did any of the homework because you could turn it in whenever. There was no due date. You just had to do it before the end
Okay.
of the term. So I would go to the library the day before the final every term and learn all of the course and do all of the homework for the Spanish class in the library. It would take like
Holy.
10 hours. So I would get there overnight. I would pull an all nighter and I would be so hyper fixated on it because, like, what else am I going to do? Go read textbooks? Like, I'm surrounded by textbooks. I might as well do my homework. And I don't have Steam in front of me and I don't have anything else. So I would just sit there,
Yeah.
type away. And it sounds like jail, but like it helps you it helps you focus. Like I'm putting myself in Steam jail. I'm not allowed to play Steam games, but I'm able to I'm able to do my work. And that's kind of something that I've had to do for a really long time. You can tell
Mhm.
when I'm not doing it because then I upload once every 3 weeks. It's
I see. Oh, so that's what's happened lately. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I just moved into this new apartment, and it's been hard for
Mhm.
me to get back.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I love it here. It's been hard to get back into the swing of things, but I think you find a
Mhm.
coffee shop where you're not gonna get on Steam, you're not gonna get on Minecraft, you're gonna just, like, open up a Word doc and then just type away. It's a lot easier to
Yeah.
work there.
Coping with that, or at least trying to work with it. At least you found something that works for you that can get you to, upload once, twice a week. Even the uploading every 3 weeks isn't that bad. I mean,
Mhm.
you do have creators who like upload once a month, but then they make that their thing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
Slowly
I
moving towards
totally
the low upload schedule.
yeah. Slowly, yeah, you're gonna hit the once a month eventually. But I get what you mean about the script writing. For me, like the script writing, putting everything down, I like that
Oh,
process.
really?
But then smoothing it out into the final product is the one I dread the most. Like,
Mhm.
I like having the information, but then worrying about like the phrasing of this thing. Is this going to be ambiguous? Is this going to mean something else? Is it damage bonus? Is it damage increase? Is it, like things like that, where you have to make sure something can't be misinterpreted.
Yeah.
I feel like that's always a fear, especially when you're making guides or when you're trying to be an authority on something. Like, can this be misinterpreted? Is someone going to take what you're saying the wrong way, whether
Mhm.
it's in a video or whether it's live or whether it's on fucking Twitter, you know?
Yeah. It's really hard to find a way to not to have all of that nuance in there and also make it not sound like they're reading a textbook.
Mm.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
like videos are great because you don't have to read anything and you can just digest the information that people are sharing with you.
Hmm.
God, every time I sometimes people will approach me for Star Rail or Genshin, and
Yeah.
they'll be like, "Hey, I like your videos a lot. Can I help you with your next one with like the theory crafting and stuff?" And like usually I'm open to it because like I like to hear different perspectives, especially in case there's things that I like missed that like I would definitely want to include in the video.
Hmm.
And I've had people come to me and then they'll be like, you can't like trust this guy's math, or they'll be like you should do this math instead, and usually their math is like a 2% difference from the other person's, and it's like a really
Mm.
like minimal thing. But then like they'll have like situations where they're like giga niche, like really specific situations where like on Spiral Abyss floor 12-2 during this specific cycle, using this character's skill for 9 seconds instead of 10 seconds actually is
Hmm.
more optimal because of X, Y, and Z. And they'll talk about that like
Hmm.
it's absolute fact because that's how they play the character. And
Hmm.
I'm not going to put that in a video. That's like
Yeah.
its own video, right? If you're going to talk
Yeah.
about a super niche thing. Um, but talking about that, it's like that's information that like the general public or like most people don't really care about. Like what
Yeah.
that's going to benefit them in a very specific situation. And that's great. And you know, there are creators that make content on that. That and they can
Hmm.
go find those creators and like watch that if they want to know like the optimal thing for floor 12-2 during the specific cycle.
Yeah.
But for me it's like I just want to say like this is the best thing to do in general,
Hmm.
and you know there's situations where it could change, but you know this is what I think you should do.
Yeah. I feel like you and I have a very similar approach to guide making in that sense because a lot of the things that, as you said, people don't care about are like, in my opinion, it's not essential to them. Like, they
Hmm.
don't need to know it because it's not essential to them. But if they want to look for it more, then that's fine. Um, we have a similar approach to that in trying to give the best, like, general recommendations and then
Hmm.
saying, there will be cases where these general recommendations don't hold up and you're
Yeah.
going to have to like adjust to that, or this, sometimes we put in recommendations for those special cases, if they're significant enough. But definitely, like, we try to appeal to the general public. And you also have to be thankful for the creators who actually go into like the niche stuff, who
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
make content there, or who even make meme builds or niche builds. Like, those are people that I definitely want my audience to look out for as well, like if they're actually interested in those kind of niche situations. But another thing that with your style and with your approach, you recently made a video that said something to the effect of you were done with meta in Genshin.
Oh
You
yeah.
were done with, yeah. How did that happen?
uh it kind of, I mean, it actually started a long time ago, but that video, truthfully I had a sponsor deadline, but but the other but it's a video I'd wanted to make for a little while because the whole thing behind Genshin meta is like it's a lot of the same units being used over and over on the same archetypes for content that's never changing. You're
Yeah.
gonna get new enemies in Spiral Abyss, but like, oh boohoo, you can't play Freeze. Time to play Hyper Bloom, or
Yeah.
just actually any time it's time to play Hyper Bloom. Honestly, I'm just kind of bored with that, and I think that I maybe gave a lot of viewers the wrong impression about my channel. And honestly, part of that is my fault because I used to make like extremely like meta focused stuff. I really wanted my
Hmm.
content to be like the most correct. Like I got involved with all the other people that were like, I want my content to be the most correct. And I was like, I also want my content to be the most correct. So
Yeah.
I always I started going to the Giga Niche stuff. I started going into like combos and
And
things that,
rotations.
yeah, like, exactly.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't really care about that anymore because
Mhm.
it's all the same. Like, I care more about finding ways to make like your favorite character like playable.
Playable. That's a low standard, but okay.
Well,
I'm I'm kidding. I totally
I
get it.
mean,
We have
like, I'm just
characters
thinking
that
about some of the units we've seen, but
not to drop any names,
yeah,
but
I'll be keeping the names
yeah.
out of here actually. But
Mhm.
I don't know. There's some like I've never gotten this to work, but like I kind of I was hoping that that Layla would have like a more involved character design, or she would have more
Mhm.
like on field time or something. Because I
Mhm.
thought her design was really pretty. I was like, it's cool that we have like an elf character who's got all these cool like astral designs, and
Yeah.
I really liked her character. Um, but like you see her for 2 seconds,
Mhm.
right? And some
Yeah,
people
and then
are,
she's gone.
yeah. And there's a lot of people that have characters like that they want to play like that. And then there's a
Yeah.
lot of characters that I like that just anytime I really like a character's design, they end up like being
Mhm.
not great. So, um,
Wait, what is your track record? You have C6 Yoimiya. I
mhm,
think you have C6 Yai, right?
yeah, yeah. I ended
She's
up
found her
getting better with
footing.
Dendro, I will say.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think Yai was bad. It was just that Fischl existed, so people just said Yai was bad because Fischl exists. But
Yeah.
um, you know, if the bar is Fischl, then like she's pretty good. Um,
Mhm.
and then there's Dia.
Mhm.
And I'm
We
trying
know
to,
how
and there's
that turned
Layla as
out.
well. Layla's actually fine. She
Yeah.
just wasn't what I
She's
wanted her to
solid.
be, but she's pretty
Mhm.
good. But she's not Diona, which is another thing.
I feel like that's also one thing that we've had to contend with, like
hmm
the side grades and the upgrades and the non-upgrades,
Yeah,
because Genshin has made its mission to like output so many characters
right.
at like every patch, every year. And it's come to the point where you're right, like we have all the mechanics down. It's very hard to bring in something new. And when they do bring in something new, like it's either going to be groundbreaking or it's going to flop.
hmm
And for those in the middle, especially with 4 stars, they end up being side grades, kind of downgrades, only slightly upgrades. And it becomes kind of weird or difficult to make content on that because it's kind of like trying to make content on the same thing, even though it's like not really the same thing, but then you end up start talking about the same things. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like in that regard, it's also hard to get like everyone excited about a new unit
Mm,
because
yeah.
a lot of our job, like I'm not going to say our job is to sell characters because it's not, right? Like I'm not trying to sell
Yeah.
you a character, especially if I think they're not good. But you know,
Exactly.
a lot of people aren't interested in watching a video on why a character is middle of the pack or why a character is
Yeah.
like not as good as other characters. Well, actually, if you make the video specifically about that, maybe. But like,
Yeah.
why Cookie sucks before Dendro? Like, I don't know, something like
It's
that.
watchable, yeah. It's a
So,
concept. Uh-huh.
but I definitely feel that with the side grades and stuff. You'll end up making a video and people will be like, okay, so they're just worse. This character skip, you know,
Mm.
okay. So I don't know. It doesn't feel great on my end. I know it's nothing that I did.
Mhm.
But I think that's kind of just par for the course, right? Because Genshin is trying to make all the characters unique, but they're also
Mhm.
not adding any more difficult content, so they have no reason to make stronger characters because people can already
Mhm.
clear all the content. Um,
Mhm.
so if they made stronger characters, then what would that do other than force them to make harder content, which would then,
Mhm.
you know, make people mad that they power crept the game. So
Yeah, it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
yeah, I think they're in kind of an unwinnable situation, to be honest.
Mhm.
And honest, I could see them in the future, eventually coming to a decision on like maybe adding harder stuff. But I don't
Mhm.
see that until maybe a few more years down the line when Genshin's player base has dwindled a little bit, just because you know games get older.
Mhm.
Usually the player base doesn't grow past its prime, and its prime was COVID, so it's gonna be tough to beat that.
Yeah. It is. It is. I still get surprised like how in my comments, we still get new players or
Yeah.
just been playing for a few months, which is always nice to see, but I do I do believe that we have reached that kind of stability,
Yeah.
not just because of the content, but also because of the community kind of stabilizing. Like it's
Mhm.
not always it's not a constant influx of people who want to know what they're talking about and don't really know what they're talking about yet and don't really know who to trust or who to believe yet with those kinds of things. And I'm glad for, casual content makers or those who don't focus on meta, where they can like love the shit out of a design and that's the focus of their content. But then for us guide makers, because we do focus on meta and like we did until it and focus on like guide making and stuff, it is true that we often have to rehash similar concepts, like the same info, the same approach, and I am afraid that it does get monotonous, that
Mhm.
especially for the viewer, with Genshin having a sort of stasis as it is. But is there a way that you are trying to work around that with your recent declaration of like not really meta, but then, how do you see yourself dealing with that moving forward?
I mostly the reason I made that video was mostly because I was kind of tired of the like discourse about like just play Xiangling. Like don't
Mm,
pull for any new characters, play Xiangling. Don't pull for this character, don't pull for this character. They're not as good as like anyone in national team. They're not as good at like no characters are going to beat the 1.0 characters until Genshin decides to make stuff tougher, I think. I mean, actually that's not entirely true. Some characters beat 1.0, but it's like really rare, right? Like you have Yelan,
yeah.
and I don't think Yelan is like this is a hot take, by the way. I don't think Yelan is actually better than Xingqiu. I
Hmm.
think Xingqiu is a better character than Yelan, and that's going to piss off a lot of people. I
Hmm.
personally am more comfy with the damage reduction than the
Hmm.
damage bonus. I find oftentimes in any team I'm playing Xingqiu and I don't have trouble with the DPS check, right?
Yeah, he's
Um,
sufficient and more.
but yeah, but like with enemies coming out that hit harder and like more shields and reduction,
Yeah.
that's why I like Xingqiu better. But people argue that like Yelan is better, and I can see their point. She does more damage. She gives you damage bonus on your main character. Um, and that's great. But for the majority of characters, they're not going to be upgrades to 1.0 characters unless they are specifically like the 5-star version of that. I'm kind of tired. Like I don't know. I'm trying to find my enjoyment in Genshin in a different way from how I used to, because it's gotten past the point where I can beat Abyss. Now I'm beating Abyss with characters that are like suboptimal because I'm
Hmm.
I'm done. I'm done with the narrative of play Xiangling only and nothing else. I understand why it's there, but like Jesus, can we just
Yeah.
like enjoy someone else now?
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. I feel like when Fermine came out, that was like, for me that was like really refreshing because he was interesting and you could beat Abyss, like, if you tried hard enough, like with
Mhm.
a focus team on him. But I do understand wanting to find new ways to enjoy the game. I feel like in this stasis, like I'm really excited. I look forward more to the Archon quest than like a new character. And it's not because I don't like the characters. It's because um with new characters, I'm always pressured to make the content. We have to, we make our respective content on them.
Mhm.
But then the Archon quest, you don't really know what to expect. Whereas when we make our content, we know exactly what to
Yeah.
expect.
We know what the build is gonna be after we play the
Mhm.
character. We know like the teams and everything.
Yeah.
Archon Quest is the only thing where it's like I go into it and I'm like, what's next for 2 hours, 3 hours?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
7 hours if you're
So
doing the new ones.
oh no. So yeah, it is like it must be such a huge contrast from that initial time in year one, year two, when
Yeah.
it wasn't just the same thing over and over again, and there were still new things. I mean, hopefully Genshin's characters do throw out surprises. That's always the biggest anticipation, I think, when it comes to the new regions Archon. Like they have to be interesting.
Yeah.
Whether and hopefully good,
Hopefully good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Farina whenever she comes out, because I think that she's going to be I hope they do something different from our
Mm.
normal Hydro application Hydro characters. Like I
That's
hope that
like
we're seeing
normal
Hydro
attack.
damage. Yeah. No, it's more rain swords. It's actually Xingqiu, Yalan,
Oh
and
yeah.
Farina, so it's just triple Hydro.
Oh no.
um yeah, but I think okay, so like one example, I really like
Mhm.
Neuvillette. I think
Yeah,
he's so cool. I love
he
his
is.
like charged attack and the fact he can move with it. It's like Hydro Cannon from
Yeah.
Pokemon and just it's so it's so good. And
Yeah.
and it activates like Beto, and so you can play like tons of different teams with him. There's a Dia team with
Mhm.
him that works really well. Like he's
Yeah.
so fun. I like his gameplay a lot, and the memes that have come with it also are great. I think characters that make good memes
True.
are good characters.
He is a major character of the Fontaine arc, and I'm glad that we feel it too in like the meta and gameplay aspects
Yeah.
because he's so cool. You can even like fly with him for a little bit,
Yeah.
or like walk over water with
This
him for a little
Kokomi
bit. I
power
love
creep.
it. Yeah,
We've already surpassed
I know.
Kokomi.
It's like if imagine if Kokomi were a Fontaine character,
She would have walked on water
like
by default.
yeah, exactly. I think so too.
Actually, that wouldn't make sense though, because she's like a mermaid, and the whole thing with Fontaine is going underwater. So maybe that's hmm.
Hmm. We'll have to think of a little bit about that
Yeah.
one.
I
Okay.
I will say with all of the meta stuff,
Mhm.
I do find myself looking forward to the Archon quest as well. Like
Mhm.
I mean, I haven't done the new one because I've been playing
Mhm.
Star Rail and hyping up my queen, but um it's, uh I think that a lot of people are looking for something fresh with Genshin, and the gameplay, the open world, and the story has really been like a lot of what's like the really super exciting new stuff. Um,
Mm.
which is honestly kind of tough for guide makers. And I don't know if you feel this way,
Yeah.
but it's been
I
tough
feel
to
that
find
way.
like really consistent stuff to upload that our viewer base is interested in.
Yeah, I get that because between guides and the new releases, right? Sometimes
Mhm.
I'm like, what the heck am I supposed to do? Like if Star Rail weren't there to make content on, I would start having to pull things out of my ass, man.
Just remake videos you made like years ago and just make them like a little bit better, or
Which is
rewrite the
something
scripts.
that you've done, which is something that we've done, guide makers have done. You start seeing like new guides on old characters.
Mhm.
But then aside from that, it's like, okay, are you going to talk about this thing? Are you going to make a controversy? Are you going to make a tier list?
I'm gonna just start
Are you going to
making
piss people
like
off?
drama. Yeah, I'm I'm at the point where like I'm just gonna start calling every character bad, and then I'm gonna farm viewership. I'm gonna start. You know what?
Oh my.
My agenda now is going to be the
Mhm.
anti-meta. I'm gonna say Xiangling is bad. Xiangling isn't good
Oh my
anymore,
god.
and I'm gonna
You
start pushing that. And then I'm gonna get into drama with creators, and then maybe
Mhm.
what I can do is I can just become a React creator, and
Ah.
I can just farm reactions of what people are saying
Mhm.
about my video, saying the
About
character
your
is bad.
content. Yeah.
There we go. I think we
That's
found
actually the YouTube meta. That's the YouTube algorithm.
yeah.
And speaking of YouTube algorithm, I was gonna go there. I was gonna ask you, um, one thing that might be like, I don't know, slightly controversial, I guess, is thumbnails. Like working with clickbait.
Hmm.
There are people who there are viewers who understand the necessity or at least appeal of clickbait to creators. There are
Hmm.
people who, of course, despise it for, reasons, understandable reasons as well.
Yeah.
But how do you work with it?
There's different tiers of clickbait. There's like
Hmm.
straight up lying to you, and then
Yeah.
there's like stretching the truth, and then there's
Hmm.
telling you like exactly what's in the video. I don't know if you watch
Hmm.
Veritasium. I feel like we may have talked about this
I've watched
before.
that video.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
this
we
video.
have
It's like
talked
the
about
art of
this. Yeah.
clickbait or something, or it's like the
Hmm.
um. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I do know they talked about the problem with saying exactly what's in your video is that the viewer has no reason to watch the video unless it's like a
Hmm.
guide, which is what we do. But
Hmm.
there's ways to enhance that, right? I don't think calling a character insane is clickbait, to be honest, because if the character is
Hmm.
like insanely good, then you're telling the truth. And if you
Hmm.
say it's a guide video with all these things, then it's a guide video. Some people
Hmm.
think clickbait is just having big bubble letters and using buzzwords, but I think
Hmm.
that clickbait kind of misleads you into clicking the video, in my opinion. Um,
Hmm.
I think what we have now is like a style of how to get people excited about the video they're going to watch. Don't tell them everything in the video, but maybe allude to something that could be true, so that way they're like, "No way," or like, "What is this?" That's why
Yeah.
you see a lot of the red arrows pointing to nothing. Like if you really look at the
Yeah.
thumbnails, there's nothing there. It's just a red
I
arrow,
know.
and you're like,
I
oh my
love
god,
those thumbnails.
yeah. And
They're so funny.
there's
Yeah.
definitely like a meta to it.
Mm.
But the problem is like if you can't beat them, join them is kind of the name of the game. If you want to make YouTube your
Yeah.
career, and you see people using, well, again, I don't want to call it clickbait, but you see people using a big arrow and a
Mm.
character and using buzzwords and stuff. No one's, well, there's going to be people that click on your video over that one, but a majority
Mhm.
of like the casual viewers don't really care. They just kind of consume the content, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to click the video that looks more exciting or has something in it that you don't say.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad anymore. I think that the meta, now that the thumbnail meta has settled, people
Uh,
are kind of okay with it. But there's definitely like a methodology to getting people excited about the video without telling them exactly what's in it. Because if you do that, then they're not going to watch the video. So
okay. Yeah.
that's my
I
opinion.
totally get what you mean. I feel like the if you can't beat him, join him is something that I always struggle with
Hmm.
because in my head I'm like I'm gonna have a different vocabulary. I want to use different words.
You
Like
do.
every time. I do because I haven't given up.
Yeah.
Like
Use
I
alliteration a lot.
I do. I try. And it's because every every new character I'm like is this the character where I'm actually going to seriously use the word broken?
Is this the one?
Is this the one, you know? And I have seen like okay, I'm gonna cut this out if it pisses you off, but I saw like a picture on Reddit of like 8 thumbnails that had the word broken
Oh,
and like
three of them
4
were
of them
mine.
were yours.
Yeah.
3 of them. Okay, at least 3. I think it was 4, but at
Oh,
least
maybe it
3.
was 4. I saw that, and I remember because it was at the start of Star Rail. And
Mhm.
I saw the Reddit thread. A lot of people were saying they liked my videos, so it didn't really bother me.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but I did notice one time that I posted broken for Fushuan because I think that is
Mhm.
truly an actually broken character. I think she is
Yeah.
busted. Um,
Mhm.
and I hadn't used broken on a Star Rail thumbnail or in a title in 4 months, and people were commenting, this guy thinks everything is broken, dude. This guy thinks every character is super broken. He's using broken again XD, like,
Yeah. He's XD.
XD.
Yeah, and actually, when you do look at the comments, like on the replies on that Reddit thread, like you make a good point. A lot of people were saying that you did have good videos and they like their videos, and I think that that's important. That
Hmm.
with whatever you use as clickbait or like hyping up, you actually deliver.
Hmm.
You can't be the person who comes up with a brilliant thumbnail and a clickbait, but then the video falls flat. So in some ways, like being able to I guess you can deserve that clickbait to some extent. I
Yeah,
guess when
like
you think
you've
about
earned
it
it
that
if they
way.
like the video.
Yeah, if the video is actually worth watching, and both of us put like a lot of effort into our guides, and
Hmm.
I do think we've reached that quality where yeah, how we market it, we just want you to watch the video
Hmm.
because we know that it's going to be a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, like from our perspective, there's like 10 billion other Star Rail creators, Genshin creators, and if you regularly watch Genshin content, you go to your like for you homepage, right? You're gonna
Yeah.
have like 3 guides up for the character on your homepage. You're only gonna watch one at a time. You might watch all of them, but YouTube's recording
Mhm.
that click through rate. They're gonna report
Yeah.
back to you and say like this many people clicked on your video on the homepage, and so your video's
Mhm.
actually doing better, and they'll boost your video because more people are clicking on it.
Yeah.
So you have to compete with all of the other people that are trying to clickbait you. So you have to find a way to do it. That
Yeah.
you don't have to lie, but you know.
There are different ways to do it, and I think I in that sense I do appreciate, for example, viewers that end up loyally watching your content
Yes.
first. Like I hope that you get those comments. I get those comments, thankfully, that there are people who like wait on you to upload this thing and then it's like thank you for saving my algorithm and making YouTube Studio look kind to me,
Yeah, yeah. There are people that will watch every video you upload, regardless of what you title it. And
Mm,
those are the viewers that are like really, really. like super helpful to your channel because YouTube sees them returning. They're returning viewers and they're watching every video. Like they're going to keep pushing out that video. And so every single
Yeah.
viewer that comes back for multiple videos, YouTube's like, oh, you make good videos. People are coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate everyone who watches my videos, but like the people that are coming back every single time, like they're driving the channel in like such a helpful way too. So I mean, yeah, it always makes me really happy when I see little comments that are like, oh, I watch all of your videos. I also see comments when I upload a new video, like, where's the new Valette guide, Brax? Like, where's the guide for this character, Brax? Why haven't you made this video?
Yeah, I love those. I love those comments. They're like, "Where's Simona guide? Where is your new Valette guide, Brax? Are you still gonna make one?"
Maybe on rerun. That might be a rerun.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's too
That's
late.
fair.
There's also the thing of timing, right? If there's 14 guides up and people have watched 12 of them, then the 15th guide they're probably not gonna watch.
That was me with Zila.
Yeah,
because I don't have a Zila guide.
Wait,
and
still?
People, no, I don't because you know what? When Star Rail came out, it was Baiju and Kirara.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Out.
I think it was Baiju.
And yeah. And a lot of people, a lot of Genshin creators, I think they dropped Baiju and Kirara because they knew that they were kind of, not that exciting and actually went to Star Rail instead. But I hung on to Baiju and Kirara and I don't regret it. But it also made me unable to make a Zilla guide because I had like no bandwidth for it and everyone was already like pumping everything out. I was still trying to get a grasp of the game because I didn't have as much like turn-based experience to back me up on that. So yeah, I don't have a Zilla guide and I'm probably going to make one on her rerun. Thank God it's like coming this version.
Yeah.
but you I think that did you drop Baiju and Kirara?
I dropped Baiju. I made a Kirara one.
Because cat girl.
Yeah, she's cute. I had to make a video.
Yeah.
No, it's funny because I started making. I think like a majority of YouTube is actually just timing. And so I started making Star Rail videos just leading up to launch. And I was posting less Genshin. I'm trying to find when I uploaded the Kirara guide. I don't
know if you know this, but the YouTube plaque behind you, I can see the reflection of your screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I see it. That's really funny.
I'm like, Brax is looking for something.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So I uploaded like 18 videos of Star Rail before I uploaded a Genshin video again.
Wow.
And those videos did like insanely well. Like my Zilla guide is my most viewed video on my channel.
It is. It has over 1 million views.
Which I thought was crazy because I didn't even think it was that good. I thought it was like that was the beginning of me trying to put jokes in my videos. I thought I had a long ways to go. And actually, if you want to know a little fun fact, my Should You Pull for Zilla video was ghost written. I actually, yeah. So I had a friend who was a writer. She was looking for work. I was like, hey, I can give you a bullet point list of all the points you need to make in this video. Can you turn it into like a funny script? And she wrote that like entire video script.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it's still like the editing and stuff. It's like, it's still my content. It's just that, and it's still the points that I wanted to make. They were all in there. It's just that like a lot of the jokes in that video specifically weren't even me. I will say it was a bit expensive. I probably won't do it again. But friend needed work, and I was like, I don't have the bandwidth for this, so here you go.
Okay. Oh, that worked out. Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun getting to do something that we're still kind of learning. Like, I think people think they have Star Rail like cracked open. Like, I think so many people think that like Star Rail is we figured everything out. I don't think that's actually the case, especially because they're releasing characters that do like different things now. I don't know if you've seen like Lynx is a really cool character because she can add like taunt to your preservation or destruction units.
Destruction, yeah.
And like March does the same thing with her shield just to anyone. But the problem is that like March only has the one shield. So she's like not like a full preservation over the whole team. And so Lynx like basically allows you to play Clara differently, or not differently, but more efficiently. And Lynx also allows you to figure out energy funneling in a different way to destruction characters because now you can guarantee they're getting hit more frequently. And now we have the guy that messes with skill points. We have the
we have the guy that messes with the woman who messes with team health.
Yeah, that lady.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like there's still so many cool things they can do with Star Rail characters that make the game like feel like super fresh. And so I think that also is really exciting for thumbnails too. Like kind of
Mhm.
looping back to what we're talking about, because now we can say
Yeah.
different things. Or I could just say insane, amazing, broken for all of my thumbnails and keep doing what I've been doing. But
It'd be pretty funny if you looked back on your channel and it's just all broken.
actually another fun fact. So I when I released the Jinglu guide,
Yeah.
I initially called it sanest Jinglu guide or most sane Jinglu guide.
Uh-huh.
And it was like flopping. And I didn't realize like
Really?
how much that would matter. Um it was like Jinglu, or it was literally just like most sane Jinglu guide uh and build best relic scenes. And so it was
Yeah.
just that. Um
Mhm.
and on YouTube Studio, for those of you who don't know, YouTube Studio has like a ranking for all your videos. And it'll show you like your number one video in like the time frame and
In the
versus your number
last 10
10.
videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it'll make you feel bad when you post a video that people don't like. But my Jinglu video was 9 out of 10,
Oh,
which I
really?
was like, this doesn't seem right, because I know people were excited for this character.
Yeah.
So I changed it to my normal format for guide videos, and instantly it
Mhm.
jumped up to 1 out of 10 within like an hour. And so
Damn.
title and
Was it
thumbnail
search
does matter.
results?
Probably some of it was search results too, yeah. Because like, there's always like um E0 Jinglu guide and stuff. I didn't have that. I just had most sane Jinglu guide, which is like
Yeah.
maybe it came up further down or something.
Mm.
But yeah, title and thumbnail really do matter. And sometimes even if it doesn't feel great, you kind of have to bite the bullet and just go like, I'm gonna do this because I know I made a good video and I need
Mhm.
people to watch it. So
Mm. Just like the one that you described now, but I know that you've had other videos that weren't doing well initially, and then you changed either the title or the thumbnail, and then it suddenly did well. For the record, I don't think I've ever had that happen to me.
really.
Like, I think I've had pretty mid or low performing videos, and even if I tried to like, revive it with a new thumbnail or a new title, I've never really gotten it to go past mid, but you have. And I think that that's really interesting. That's something that kind of shows off the extent of the YouTube algorithm for us creators. How does that work out? How has it happened in the past?
It's been a lot of like a video's not getting very many clicks. It's usually not retention. It's usually click
Mhm.
through rate for that, I think. I definitely think thumbnail and title affects retention, because
Yeah.
people go into it with different expectations. Um, but sometimes if you just say what the video is, or it's not like clickbait enough,
Mhm.
people won't click on it, and then YouTube will go, "Oh, well, that's like a bad video." Like that's a bad video. I'm not going to show that to anyone. Like the people aren't
Uh-huh.
clicking on it. You change the title and thumbnail, and then slowly over time, it kind of flips and people
Okay.
click on it more and more, and it eventually offsets that. Um,
Okay.
and YouTube goes, "Oh, actually, that is kind of a good video," and then they push the video more. And it's like the video has been the same the whole time, but it's just like
Yeah.
how many people are interested in the topic the way you
Yeah.
framed it, the way you presented it.
The framing and presentation, like, it's so sometimes it boggles my mind, like, how important it is, how it affects, people's expectations, and one time that became so apparent to me, it was a video when Zhongli reran after Sumeru came out,
Hmm.
and I was trying to make a video like, "Is he worth pulling?" But instead I made it more like, most relevant geo character question mark, right?
Mm.
So I was like framing it like in the context of geo being left behind with Dendro and things like that. The first thumbnail I put, I didn't change the title, but the first thumbnail I put said, is geo irrelevant?
Mm.
And it had like the cancel sign on it,
The
right?
little circle with a
And
slash through. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And oh my god, the comments I got, they were clearly by people who had not watched the video,
Mm.
because people just come in to answer the thumbnail.
Yep. People do that a lot.
And yeah, and then I changed the thumbnail and it didn't really change the ranking of the video on my YouTube studio, but the comments were so different. I changed it to, is Geo still relevant or like most relevant geo, something like that. It's probably still up that way. And then the comments became so neutral. They were no longer trying to like respond to the thumbnail. They actually like watched the video through, listened to the points, and then actually like tried to comment on the actual talking points. And I feel like that was probably the the most clearest example to me of how important thumbnail and title are, not just for like watchability, but how people are going to like receive your video as well.
One good example is, Vars, right?
Yes.
Vars did his Why No One Plays series, and he uploaded one.
Yes.
I don't remember who it was on, but it was a character that was actually like I don't want to say they were like played a ton, but they weren't like
Mhm.
completely gone. Like people would still play the
Mhm.
character. And actually even for like the less relevant character or the less played characters, I guess, right? He still gets
Yeah.
videos like, I'm actually like, I play this character and all my friends play this character, so this video is wrong. And
Yeah.
they don't like watch the video at all. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with like, okay, great, you play the character. It's literally just like, here's what this character does, and that's why people use this other character instead. But Vars has to deal with a lot of that backlash.
Yeah, by itself, the video is pretty neutral. It's like not trying to be controversial, but then when when you see how the thumbnail frames it, like why no one plays, it always has like this instant response to it.
Yeah, there's an instant people that play the character especially get like offended for it, which is, I mean, that's the, like, unfortunately that's the YouTube game. I
Hmm.
don't personally try to offend people, but it's like there's gonna be people that get on YouTube that actually, it's the same reason people watch news. Like they get like, there's a news headline that just sounds absolutely like insane, uh
Yeah,
and like sometimes it'll be like, yeah, the this political party actually has been killing dogs, and people are like, no, there's no way. And then they click on the thing and then they're mad about it. And they like tell all
yeah,
their friends about this thing before they've even read the article. And that's like true clickbait.
yeah.
That's like, this is not actually relevant to the video. This is them trying to rile you up so that way you watch it and then backpedal.
I know that Vars did eventually change like how he approached the titling and thumbnailing
Hmm.
of those videos. Like we did see, shout out to Vars if you're listening to this. Like it is now a what happened to, if I'm not mistaken. Like that's the phrasing now,
Hmm. I
I
think he
think.
does that especially for characters that, like, I think Why No One Plays is still like okay, but I think he does
Hmm.
that one especially for characters that maybe like are actually good, but just like don't see much play. But yeah, it's a less negative way of framing it that still gets people interested, and also the
Yeah.
consistency in the title, thumbnail, and series help a lot.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. People like you want people to recognize it
Yeah.
as your video.
Oh, that has been a thing.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, you've been through the thumbnail motions, with like just changing thumbnails every single, like, not every single release, just over time. Um,
Over time,
and
yeah.
everyone has sort of settled on this yellow text and white text, and then things behind the yellow text and white text, big character on the left or right. Um,
Yeah.
and that's become kind of like the meta, right? But that was what
Yeah.
ended up getting the most clicks. Um, I don't think there was a couple creators that started doing it first. I remember Ziox ended up saying something about everyone copying his thumbnails, but I don't think he was the first one to do it.
Mhm.
I think he was just one of the people that was doing it first. Uh,
Mhm.
but yeah, like everyone kind of wants to change their thumbnails so they can be like different. And like, I do think a lot of making thumbnails is like imitating people,
Mhm.
and then you just kind of over time you go, I like this better, and you change it and you
Yeah.
slowly adapt it. And as long as you keep a similar style over time, like people will recognize your thumbnails. But then some people will start to like actually copy your thumbnails, which which I've seen
Which you're
a lot.
Mhm.
So like, okay, one thing is, so the yellow and white text, I think that's like basically a standard. I don't blame anyone for doing that.
Yeah.
But I wanted
Same.
to make my thumbnails a little bit different because I noticed everyone's doing yellow and white text now.
Mhm.
And Sevy, I don't know what it is about yours, but when I look at yours, they have the formula, but they look so different. I don't know if it's how you do colors or something, But like,
I think it's the font, to be honest.
you think
I
it's
think it's
that?
the font.
Let me look at your font.
Because if you look at because I noticed that people started going for chunkier font like on yours.
Mhm.
Where the length and the height, the width and the height of the letters are quite 1:1 or closer to 1:1.
Mhm.
And I use a super narrow font. That wasn't intentional. I just chose it because it lets me insert longer words without it looking too long.
Yeah, your font is so good though. Oh my god.
Thank you.
I
I don't
love
know
your
where I
font.
found it. Thank you.
You don't know where you found it. You just had a font on your PC. You're just like, okay, this is
I
it.
go I go through like periodic phases of downloading new fonts.
Okay.
And then just happened to be one of them. It's like an entire font family with like 30 sub fonts in it or something.
Huh.
But yeah, the whole yellow and white text, it does become standard because yellow is obviously like a standout color. And then yeah, you want to feature the character in like their most flattering image or like their most exciting image on the thumbnail as well. So definitely standard. And then it's like, what are you going to do with the rest of it? How are you going to make it different? Are you going to try to make it different? Like you were right in that we are kind of imitating each other, but then there always has to be a sense of, well, in my opinion, you always want there to be a sense of uniqueness to you. You
Mhm.
don't want to copy someone else because then that's just going to put you whether in the same box as someone else or the same identity as something else as someone else. And like in my personal opinion, as a creator, you do want to be set apart from people. Like you want to be recognized as
Right.
your own person.
How can you take the meta and make it look different from everyone else, but still have it
Yeah.
be the same level of like attention grabbing?
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
And you have fierce style on that.
I stole something
Uh-huh.
from a Tower of Fantasy creator. So
Okay.
there was this one guy. God, what is his name? I think Gateo. They always do their stuff is a little bit different. So they would do like a thumbnail of a character next to text, kind of like we do, but it's always character art. It's never like a 3D character. And their thumbnails are very colorful and there's a lot to look at. And I think they may be one of the bigger Tower Fantasy creators. Um,
Mm.
but they always have this like gold like strip banner thing below their text or like
I
somewhere on their
see it.
thumbnail. And I was
Yeah.
like, no one's doing this in Genshin. I'm gonna yoink it. And so I yoinked it. And I started putting a little like gold ish gradient banner thing below my text to try to show that like even if people steal my font, like it has this little
Mhm.
bit of gold framing the white text, and like
Mhm.
that's like my thing. Um,
Mm.
and so I saw people like doing the yellow and white text thing. And then eventually I
Yeah.
started seeing people putting a little gold border below it. And I'm like, okay, I know what you're up to. I know what you are, like it's only bad, I think, when it gets to the point where you have viewers coming to you and saying, like, hey, like I've been scammed into watching different content. Like,
I've been scammed. Yeah.
for the most part, like it doesn't really affect my views if someone else does it, especially if their content is
Mm.
different. If their content's like
Mhm.
exactly the same as mine, then it becomes problematic because if that person is gaining on me in views, then viewers are going to genuinely just start being confused, right?
Mhm.
And like I'm not super confrontational, so I don't like to go to
Mhm.
people and say, "Hey, could you change this?" Cuz like the internet is the wild west. People can use whatever they want. I notice it and I'm like, "Huh, I don't know if I really care for that." But at the end of the day,
Mhm.
I can't really do anything about it except ask, and I don't know if I care enough to ask. So
Yeah.
just shrug it
Yeah,
off.
it's like sometimes it's on the it is on your burden. Well, the burden of the creator who has a problem with it to do something about it. It's totally up to them whether or not they're gonna do something about it.
Yeah.
um, and thumbnailing is tough because when you are in a sea of dozens and hundreds of creators who are all trying to achieve the same thing and find out that one way works better than everything else, like of course you're going to try the same thing.
Mhm.
And whether that's thumbnails or even like video formats, like I know that a lot of us who make guides, we follow similar formats. We have the same structure. This is how the character works. Constellations is either after that or at the end. these are the artifacts, stats, sets, weapons, teams. Like it's all in there, and we've all picked up that structure more or less because we know that it works.
Yep.
So then it's like, what sets you apart? Knowing that you all have similar formats, and then that's totally up to you. Like that's where your creativity has to come through, I guess.
Yeah. And that's why I changed my stuff. I mean, I was bored, but also like I don't know, we've been making the same video for so long. I'm like, let me do something
Yeah.
different. But also like, yeah, at some point the videos all mesh together and it becomes whose voice do I like the best? Whose
Hmm.
like graphics do I
Oh my
like the
gosh,
best?
Brax, I was not going to bring this up, but since you went there, sometimes I hear like a video playing from across the room, like, and then it's like a guy speaking, and I'm like, is that Brax?
Oh my god.
It's not even like a Genshin video.
It's-
Like sometimes it's just a game
Do
review.
we all sound the same? That is really funny. Oh my god.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm everywhere. I actually have so many like secret channels, and they're not called Brax
Yeah,
at all. So
they're not. They're called IGN.
IGN, yeah, it's IGN, Smosh, like, yeah, all of us, like, we're all the same. It's all me. I just.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I totally interrupted you.
I don't even remember what I was saying. I think it was just like, yeah, we changed
Whose
up.
voice do you like the most?
Yeah, it's like that's what it ends up being. Or like, who do you like? Like, do you like how they talk? I think
Mm,
one thing that's really like super appealing about like Ziox's guides, like something that's really appealing about him is it sounds like he's just talking to you like in a room, like he's just like sitting down on the bed across from you while you're in a chair or something, like, and he's just talking, and that's kind of
mhm.
the vibe I get from it. And it's like it's all good information.
That's
Um,
such a funny image, but okay,
yeah.
go on.
Well, like, yeah, it's like your friend comes over and then you're like, help me build it, and then he's like over your shoulder and he's just like on live with your mouse and keyboard. He's just like clicking all the stuff, right? That's the vibe I get
Yeah.
when I watch his videos, and I think for a lot of people,
Okay.
that's like it's so chill and like approachable. For most people, I think that's why they like it. Um,
Yeah.
that's what I like about it specifically. And then there's other people that are like old and they just like they're like, I need someone to explain with graphics on the screen and talk very
Yeah.
slowly and
And
like
then that's our viewers.
yeah. And now I've just
Yeah.
devolved into there's this one creator I watch called Echidna. Do you watch ReZero? Have you watched ReZero?
No.
Okay, it's very good. You should watch it. But he
Okay.
makes a lot. He started making a lot of content about that. Now he just makes general like anime content.
Mhm.
But he just has like this humor that kind of like backhands you with no warning. Like I feel like
Okay.
I watch this guy's videos and he'll say something and then I'll be like I'll do like a double take like like what did what happened? And I was kind of like, I think that's really funny and I want to do that. And it's
Mm.
not quite the same. It's kind of a mix of like some other stuff for me, but um I think that that's a really fun way to do videos because it makes it so people that are watching a guide video that's just all information have to tune
Mhm.
back in all of a sudden because they're like, what did I just
Yeah.
listen to?
Yeah, like it catches you off guard.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the videos of yours that I distinctly remember was your Nilu video when she reran.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even like your typical thumbnail. It was just a thumbnail of Nilu grabbing you or
Yeah.
like reaching
With
out
the
to
grab
grab you.
hands. Yeah.
Yeah, with the grab hands. And like I watched it and all throughout I was just like, what the fuck am I watching? But like I couldn't stop watching it.
Yeah. It's like your favorite dumpster fire. Like, why am
Yeah.
I watching this?
Yeah, and I was impressed because you didn't even try to hit the 8-minute mark. You just like went with it and ran.
Tectone watched one of my videos recently,
Mhm.
where I stretched the video a minute and 20 seconds to reach 8 minutes. I literally just had a black screen with Dia dancing for like a minute and a half.
Oh my
And he's
god.
like, did this motherfucker really just add a minute and a half to his video to reach 8 minutes?
To reach
Respect.
8 minutes. To listeners who don't know what the 8-minute mark is for YouTubers, when a video is 8 minutes long, it allows you to insert mid-roll ads. If a video is less than 8 minutes long, you don't have that option. You only get pre-rolls and post-rolls, and those aren't even things that you can play around with. So if you see a video that that is just like 8 minutes 1 second, or like brushing the border past 8 minutes, and you think to yourself, this topic is not worth 8 minutes listening to, you're absolutely right.
It's true.
It's true. That's usually because the creators are trying to, like, get their mid-rolls in. Anyway, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you want to know the secret to dragging out a video? I found this out. Maybe this is just a me
Mhm.
problem, but if you
Mhm.
really want a video to be longer than 8 minutes, don't script it. I always thought that
Mhm.
like it would be like a really short thing, but what ends up happening is because your thoughts are not like concentrated and like well put into like sentences
Mhm.
that like one sentence that you could have said on a script is like 3 or 4 sentences. You can literally just talk at a camera and you will make the video so much longer. This is what
Yeah.
happened with my Jingliu guide. My team section out of the 22 minutes is 12 minutes. And
Oh.
I like it doesn't need to be that long, but I just talked and then it ended up being like a 17-minute recording that I cut down to 12. Yeah, honestly, I'm leaning away from scripted content. I only do it for guides, but I've only been uploading guides.
Yeah.
but,
Okay.
but I've been leaning away from scripted content because it's like it's kind of exhausting, right? We talked about this earlier.
Yeah,
It's like writing an essay
it
every time.
is.
So if you have a topic that you know enough about or have the notes in front of you for, you could
Mhm.
probably talk for longer than 8 minutes if you don't script it.
Mm.
There's your
Yeah.
hack, Sevy.
I used to do that for banner review videos back
Mhm.
when I did them. Like, I would just have the notes in front of me and I'd talk and I'm like,
Do you
okay,
not do them
that looks
anymore?
like it's 8 minutes. I don't do them anymore.
Oh,
Um,
they were kind of free like content,
they were,
but I
they
don't do
were,
them anymore
and
either. Sometimes you just need like a video though. Like you're waiting for this character and you're like, I don't really know what else to do, so I will stay up
yeah.
and wait until this drops. The reason I stopped doing them is because I can't stand the schedule that they have because it's so inconsistent,
Ah,
right? Like with some games and some franchises, like okay, this like patch or like dev thing was this day, so this is going to be out 3 days after, and I know like when
yeah.
it's going to be. With this game, it's like sometimes consistent. It's like 8 or 9 p.m. my time. It's like middle of the day for you.
Yeah.
Um,
The phase 1 is consistent. The phase 2, not really.
mhm. Phase one
Because
is
the
usually
phase
right.
1, the banners come out 2 days before the character comes out.
Hmm.
But then the phase 2, I always think it's going to come out 2 days before. Sometimes it comes out the Friday before. It came out this time, it came out the Thursday before. Yesterday was
Yeah,
Thursday. Today's
that's like
Friday. Yeah.
super early. And sometimes some
Yeah.
days they would put it out on Monday. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't know what to think anymore. So I can't. I don't know if they don't give us a schedule for it. It's like it's hard for me to plan my content around that. And I'm sure you're similar, right?
Yeah.
Because you put so much
Yeah.
effort into every video, you have to plan.
Yeah. I do. I try. There was a period that I wasn't planning and everything was falling apart.
Oh no.
But
Oh.
yeah, sometimes you just need the video, and sometimes like you get awkward lulls in between videos. Like, um, for me, having a 4 day to 5 day gap between videos is weird.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's a smooth 3 days, sometimes it's a full 1 week. But then if you have something in between, it's like, do I have the bandwidth to actually stick something in between? Do I move a video ahead so that it's more evenly spaced out? Like, do you ever have those?
Back when I was putting out more videos consistently, yeah, I'd have to move things around in the schedule a lot. Like the
Yeah.
meta video for Genshin, I wanted to make that months ago, but Star Rail kept
Mm.
coming out with stuff, and then I ended up traveling, and then it's like I just didn't really have the bandwidth to make that video. Actually, I made that video in my Airbnb in Germany, so that's also fun.
Were
Um,
you inspired?
but yeah, like it's tough when you don't have that schedule, and especially like I'm glad that we now have two Hoyo games that like we're both super interested in that we can cover because that means more content. But it also like
Yeah.
these things are slowly starting to align more and more, and it's
Yes.
eventually we're gonna have to do both in 1 week, and that's terrifying.
Yes. I'm also terrified. Like, I know that Star Rail is going to change its update pacing or update length a
Yeah.
bit. It's going to align with Genshin, and I'm like, please have mercy on
Have
us.
mercy. It's gonna
Yeah.
be tough, and a lot of people are gonna have to make a choice. Like, because for a lot of us, I don't know if you feel this way. I don't think you do, because I
Hmm.
feel like you usually upload guides even if they're late. But
Hmm.
for me, if a guide is too late, I just want to upload it. or I won't make it, because the work that I would have to put in to get it out is not going to be worth the viewership compared to if I wait until another banner in the future, which is why I kind of skipped Nuvolet. I was out of town back when we had him available, and I wanted to make a Nuvolet guy because I was super excited about him, but it's like I'm going to be behind everyone else, and
Yeah.
the viewership that's going to come out of me rushing this video and putting in 24 hours for 2 days is not
Yeah.
worth it. For me,
Yeah.
I'd rather wait until I can calmly, like, firmly grasp it, you know, firmly grasp
Firmly
Nuvolet.
grasped Nuvolet. Squeeze the water out of him. Yeah.
So that's kind of, I mean, that's why I've not been uploading super consistently. For me personally, it's just like I would rather work on my own schedule, have a calm YouTube career if I'm gonna do high effort videos.
You know what? It pays off. Like I always get like impressed when you whatever it is, like your thumbnail, your title, your timing, your the video itself, it skyrockets like
Oh.
within the first few hours of a new character release. Like being super conscious of that timing is something that, you know, whether it's a pedantic decision you've made, like it is a decision that works for you nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably have a similar like hesitation to upload a guide late.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I might still do it just because I feel like I have that commitment or that duty in a sense, because I know that people are looking forward to it, and I wouldn't want to like not deliver that, since that is my main content. Like that is what I grew my channel with,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not like an afterthought. But one of the content I feel that way most with is Spiral Abyss. Like whenever we have a Spiral Abyss update, and then I want to do my like 4-star clearance strategy guide. Whenever people upload theirs sooner or like hours ahead of mine, I'm always like, God damn, are people gonna
Are
still
people
watch
actually
this?
beating you to that? Sevy, I stopped uploading them because I couldn't beat you to them. I was like, that's why I stopped. Is because like you're on Asia servers, so you get it like 12 hours before I do. So it's like I can't beat you unless I like make an Asia account and like play on this.
And like, yeah, and like catch it up.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of which, you and I have like funny history of being very close peers in both competition and like relatedness or like alignedness, I guess. And it's a good thing that we're friends, because if we weren't, we would probably be rivals or something.
Yeah, well, I think you both can exist like Gary and
That's
Ash
true.
from Pokemon, right? Like you can,
Okay.
like I can call you
Who's
names and we
Gary
can
and
still
who's
be
Ash
good.
Brax? Which one of us is which?
I think you're higher sub count, so I feel like that's probably you. But
Your higher view count though, so it kind of balances out.
yeah, okay, we're both Ash. Who's Gary?
We're
um, no, but I definitely feel like I always feel really bad when I ask you for things because I'm like I feel like I'm going to someone who like I know you don't not want me to succeed, but it benefits you if I upload late, right? So like I always
Oh my god, wait, I wasn't gonna say this, but dude, my Nivelette video, it's not even fucking close. It was like it was the fastest video on my channel. It was the highest #1, and the #2 is not even close.
really. Actually, yeah, because
Yes.
how many days? That's 280,000. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I was like, is this what Brax feels like when he uploads this guy?
Yeah,
But yeah.
well, yeah, my Jinglu video is 180K 2 days ago,
Mm-hmm.
which is like for me
Mm-hmm.
that's really good. But that's #3. I think Fushran beat it. I want to upload first, and I feel like if I upload a day late, I lose all that viewership, right? Um,
Yeah.
so like sometimes I'll need to ask you something because like I'm unsure of it, and I know
Mm-hmm.
that like even though it does benefit you if I don't upload, like
Mm-hmm.
you don't want me not to succeed. You just want to
Yeah.
succeed, right? Like so,
Yeah.
and we can both do it. And I think that
Yeah.
I think for the most part, YouTubers, I guess like of our size, like know that,
Mm-hmm.
or like your content and like when you upload and everything that you do, uh, like you have full control over it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that like for us, like it doesn't really matter as much. But I do know there's like creators who are like, no, if I like tell him this, then like he's gonna get ahead of me. Um,
Yeah.
but like do you know Grim? Have you talked to Grim?
Yes.
Yeah, so Grim, right? He's another theory crafter, and at the start of the game, we were like working together, kind of like, let's figure this shit out. And now he kind of has like gone to do his own thing. Um, but I know that like if I ask Grim something, he's gonna tell me because he doesn't want it to cause a problem if I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, right?
Mm.
And not him not telling me, but like one example is the Branya Danhung Il thing, where
Mm-hmm.
he like you can play Branya and him and speed tune them so that way like fast Danhung can play with Branya and not go skill point negative.
Okay.
Um, it was a very specific play style that I wouldn't have figured out on my own. But he figured it out and he told me about it because he was like he doesn't want me to like not talk about it and then have it create like some like drama between like TCers where it's like, yeah, this person said this and this person said this. Why'd they not agree on the same thing, you know?
Okay.
Um, and so I do appreciate that like most of the creators, I guess in the Genshin and Star Rail sphere, like they don't want other people not to succeed. They just,
Yeah.
want to focus on their own stuff, but they'll help you if you ask.
Yeah.
Um,
They don't like try to gatekeep the information, which is
mhm,
really important and which I found really helpful when I was trying to find my footing with the theory crafting side of it, because I realized like, oh, these theory crafters and these creators, like they actually want you to have the right information. They will
mhm.
try their best to get it out there, and if that includes working with you, then like they're down for it usually. And it's a little bit weirder when you have creator to creator where we're both competing with our content, but we want both of us to succeed, but also we both want the views.
Right.
So
It's like, but I know that, at the end of the day, it doesn't change anything if I get slightly more views than you,
yeah,
other than like maybe I'll get some more subs. Like at the end of
yeah.
the day, we're both getting like 100 to 200K on the video that we put out,
Mm,
and it both of us get benefit from the character releasing and from having the right info. All it does if someone
exactly.
doesn't have the right info is make them either look like a clown or start like infighting, which is like not.
We
It's
don't
not
want
good.
that.
Yeah, no, nobody wants that.
Yeah. Yeah.
After all, it is a gotcha game. I think that everyone is fighting for the greater good, which is swiping on Jinglu and then not spending a dime outside of that. So
Are you sure that's not just you, Brax?
I'm pretty sure that's everyone, but maybe,
Okay, okay.
maybe yeah.
It's just me who's missing out then.
Yeah, everyone I talk to is E6ing. Envy, Fob.
I'm talking to the first in a long line of Jingliu E6ers.
Okay, I have a question for you. I know this is your podcast, but I have a question for you.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
um,
Brax talks, yes.
do you think? Yeah, yeah. Welcome to my podcast. So for you as a content creator focusing on Hoyoverse games and now dealing with two games,
Mhm,
potentially three when Zenless comes out. I don't know if that's going to be a thing you're going to do.
mhm.
Um, do you think Twitch for you right now is like worth doing from like a productivity standpoint?
Oh, actually, it's worth it for me because I've started making content out of my streams, because I've
Hmm.
started getting those clips and shorts edited.
Nice.
And I feel like that has been a big change in how I view Twitch, because before I got those edited, shout out to my editors. I mostly viewed Twitch as like a way for me to have live connection with the community, and even if it doesn't really benefit my productivity all that much, or even if it takes hours away from like YouTube video production, I still think that value wise it's important.
Mm.
But now that I have stuff edited from it, whether it's clips or shorts, I feel like I'm making putting more effort into it, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. And it doesn't, and yeah, it is the incentive of like having more content come out of it, but also I just find it nice having those moments that you can crystallize into, a few seconds, and you look at that and like that's the thing that happened on my stream. I just find it cool
Hmm.
suddenly to have those things uploaded. And I know that there are creators who make entire videos, and like that's their entire content pipeline, and I'm always amazed at how they do that. But it's just such an interesting thing for me. But I'm not sure how you approach streaming in that sense.
So I recently hired someone to do shorts for me, like on a consistent basis.
Mhm.
Um, Part of that's been my fault because I haven't been streaming as much. I was kind of like gone and out of town. Uh,
Mhm.
but we haven't been uploading like super consistently. But I do think stream is a good way to get, I guess, to connect with your viewers. Um, but I also think, like you said, the short form content I think is a really big deal. I personally, part of the reason I've been only uploading once every 3 weeks is because I've been trying to upload shorts more frequently. And
Mhm.
though I haven't been very consistent about it, it's definitely like something that's really important. You've seen a lot of I don't want to call them like new gen Genshin streamers, but like they weren't there at like the very start of the game
Mhm.
for some folks that made it. Um, they would post on TikTok and YouTube every single day, and they'd post a long
Yes.
form video once a week, once every 5 days or
Yes.
so. And they blew up because short form is I don't really okay, this is maybe a hot take. I don't like that short form is the future, but I think that short form is the future of content.
Okay.
I think long form will always be around, but I think that short form is so much easier to consume and digest that
Mhm.
viewers will probably always prefer to just like, well, not always prefer, but like you'll always gain more viewership from people
Mhm.
swiping on TikTok and shorts
Mhm.
than you will on like your long form, assuming they like blow up because it's so short. Like you can scroll 500 videos in like a couple hours,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't even notice that it's been a couple hours.
Yeah.
So stream's really good for that.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I think it's also really exhausting, and I find that after I stream, a lot of the time I don't want to work on videos because I'm
Yeah.
like tired. I don't know if you
Yeah.
have that same battery. I would
I
assume you do.
do I do have that. That's why I've moved my streams to the end of the day. Like I do a
Mm,
lot of my video work during the day and then I move my stream to like the end of the day either before or after dinner. Although there is like a counter argument to the whole short form is the future thing, which
mm,
is that yes, it is the future view wise, but then it's not profitable enough.
that's
And
true. I agree with that.
yeah. And I feel like that's an interesting thing that I guess platforms and creators are going to have to contend with at some
Yeah.
point. Like, I do know that my short forms are driving a lot of views because you can put them on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and even Facebook if you're there, but I'm not. But what really gets me my income is the long forms. And
Yeah,
I'm
for
sure
sure.
that's true for like a lot of people. It's hard to get income off of short forms unless they're
Mm.
sponsored.
I've noticed that with short form though, sometimes you'll find creators that started their account 3 months ago. They have a million subscribers off of short form,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
like
true.
it's very subscribers. Honestly, on YouTube, I think subscribers don't mean a whole lot in terms of the algorithm anymore.
Mhm. Yeah.
They mean a lot to me because I love all of my subscribers. But I think in terms of the algorithm, it doesn't mean a ton anymore. So it's
Mhm.
just like a number to like I guess flex on
Yeah.
sponsors, right?
Yeah.
And then it's also a number to reassure you that this many people want to see more of your content.
Mhm.
Um, and I feel like that explosive growth that we've seen is all like short form focused for the most part. So
It
I don't know.
is.
I think that Twitch is helpful for that because you can make so many of those clips. But I will say, like, I haven't cracked the code on short form yet.
Mhm.
I know how to make a short form video pop off, but I don't know how to make a short form stream clip pop off. So
Oh.
I don't know if you've like really like nailed that down to a science, but it's been a lot of experimenting to try to figure that out. I grew up watching long form videos. I know what a good video is.
Yeah.
I did not grow up on TikTok.
Yeah,
So
me neither. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, do you upload them on your main channel or on your second channel?
main channel.
Main channel. You know, I
Hmm.
stopped uploading my stream shorts on my main channel.
Really?
And this actually happened after my episode with Dish because Dish was telling me about how she when she moved her art content to another channel, it grew. It grew and grew
Mhm.
because it wasn't because her art content wasn't close enough to her gaming and Genshin content. And for me, like my divide is the guide content and the casual content
Yeah.
because whenever I've tried to put a casual video on my main channel, it never works out. The short forms used to work out, but then like in the last year, they weren't. So I
Hmm.
actually migrated all my stream content, whether short form or long form or clips, onto anything that isn't guides or anything that isn't like super a ton of off off stream effort into. I migrated them to my second channel. And honestly, I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? Like it was my
Really?
fear. Yeah, I was always afraid that no one would want to watch it, but then it allows people to, well, in my experience, it's allowed people to like be able to isolate it and have it its own channel. Now,
Mm,
in terms of the shorts or clips that I have gotten to pop off, what it usually is something that's shareable. Like you can have something that's viewable and something that's commentable or something that's shocking, but if it's shocking enough to share, then like you're golden. Because I
yeah.
think one of the first things that I got to pop off was when I was like trying to figure out who was the tallest character in Honkai Star Rail. Like it's those super stupid things, and then realizing that Nicolette wears fucking thigh high spats. It's
Yeah.
really stupid specific things where people will be like, you know what? I need to tell everyone that people
Oh
see
my
this.
gosh.
Yeah.
Maybe needs to go away from like moments of the stream to like
Mhm.
funny things that we find on,
Yeah.
yeah. Things that like
And
other people would go, "Wait, did you know this?" Or like check
yeah,
the, yeah.
exactly. And a lot of the short forms that I enjoy, because I've started browsing Instagram Reels and I follow a lot of people. Like that is a lot of Doro, Brand, and Jonathan TV. Like
Mhm.
that's a lot of what their shorts are, and I always find myself like watching through the entire thing because like I need to know what the heck they found out, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So I learned a lot about like the how to do short forms from them, because I feel
Mhm.
like they've been that helped them pop off. They've been doing it a lot, and they know
Yeah.
what like a TikTok moment is, and I'm always amazed because I'm like, no, I can't.
I'm gonna start a meeting with my editors. I'm gonna be like, all right, what is a TikTok moment?
Yeah,
Please.
yeah, you're gonna have to ask
um,
them.
yeah. That's something that I think that is probably the biggest thing I think I struggle with on YouTube personally.
Hmm.
Is figuring out short form content, especially short form content that can complement my long form. But
Yeah,
I don't know, this direction that YouTube took with now you want to have separate channels for your separate kinds of content. It's kind of tough because
it is.
we all like. I think that most YouTubers would love to be in like PewDiePie's position, where you like just do it for like a ton of time, like a really long time, and over
Hmm.
time you just organically kind of like grow your following more and more and more of just people that like your content, and you can kind of play whatever or talk about whatever and people are going to watch because they're interested. But I think that YouTube doesn't work like that anymore. I
Yeah.
think that like genuinely there's this possibility that in order to become PewDiePie you actually have to have 15 channels by the end of
Yeah, you have to
it.
do what Mr. Beast does now.
And then you make a vlog channel and then get married and go live in Japan and have a kid.
Yeah, it's the vlog channel that lasts you.
Yeah. At the end of the day, though, this is mostly for fun. Like, I wouldn't have started this job if it wasn't just like a super fun thing to do.
That's
And it's
true.
cool that I got to share and all this with such cool people on Genshin
Hmm.
and Star Rail.
It's always cool meeting people in this space, because sometimes you go into this thing that is nowhere related to your degree and you're like, am I crazy for doing this? And then you find other crazy people. So
We're all a little crazy. I think you have to be a like kind of a workaholic to be a content creator. You have to like
yes.
always need something to do. And so
Yeah.
you'll find something.
Honestly, it doesn't feel like we've been at this for 2 hours, but we actually have.
There's no way it's been 2 hours. Oh my god.
It's it's been a fun episode, and whenever we collab, and we've collabed exactly 2 times, but whenever we, including this one, whenever we collab at the end of it, I'm like, why haven't I collab more with Brax? And honestly, like, it's gonna happen. Okay.
The first collab we did actually did pretty well. It got 85K.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that because usually my stream stuff doesn't do that well.
Yeah, I was
So
also surprised. I was very pleasantly surprised.
so that is a sign. Do more. Also, many, many, many positive comments. They were like, "Oh my gosh, like I love Sevy. Oh my gosh, I love this collab content." So
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
We need to do more of it. We can put more of it on your channel.
Yeah, yeah. Coming.
I'm not sure about concepts that will go on my channel, but we'll work it out. We already have this one.
All right, sounds good.
So yeah, before we wrap up this episode, I always ask my guests for advice for for our viewers or listeners, and it can be anything related to Genshin or gaming or content creation, just anything out there.
This is the hardest question you've asked, actually.
Yes.
No, I felt like the conversation was pretty good. Like, I don't know. You had interesting topics. Do you want me to like rate you on like a scale? Like this podcast is
Sure.
This podcast was a 10 out of 10, Sevy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Brax. This was a 10 out of 10 episode. Yeah, it was super great to have you. I honestly didn't feel like we were even on for 2 hours, and it's always nice to have, someone you've known for a long, long time on this podcast. And I'm grateful that you made the time to be here on your gremlin hours.
It's not too late. I've been staying up way too late. I've been up like for 4 or 5 hours past this one the past like week. So,
Oh my God.
yeah, thank you so much for having me though. This is fun. I was actually low key. I was like hoping that you would ask me at some point because I was like, this would be so fun to just go on a podcast and talk. So,
we'll have it. We'll have it again. We'll have it again in the future. We'll
all
do
right.
this again. So if you enjoyed this podcast episode, don't forget to leave a like if you're watching it on YouTube. Leave a comment down below what you would like us to do on our next collab. How about that?
That's a
and
good
if
one.
you're listening to this on Spotify, then you can go visit YouTube and leave a comment there. But thank you for listening to this episode. Don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. And I will see you all soon. Thank you, Brax, for being here, and take care, everyone.